It is said that 23-year-old Owen J. Baggett was piloting a B-24 Liberator while stationed near Calcutta with the 7th Bomb Group of the U.S. Army forces when the Japanese forces intercepted his formation. The former Wall Street defense contractor, who left his comfortable life to serve his country, then jumped from the aircraft and opened his parachute. As he was headed towards the ground and tried dodging the brunt of the Japanese fire, Baggett pulled out his .45 caliber gun and pointed it at a Japanese pilot who opened his canopy to check if he was alive. Then Baggett took the shot. A photo that supposedly depicts this one-of-a-kind moment has become the subject of much speculation, but the incredible story that seems to have come straight out of an action movie has only grown in popularity, turning Baggett into a legend. A man like many others. When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, Wall Street defense contractor Owen J. Baggett felt compelled to enlist and serve his country. Then, after graduating from the United States Army Air Force on July 26, 1942, Baggett was sent to Pandaveswar, northwest of Calcutta, India, to serve as second lieutenant in the 7th Bomb Group of the U.S. Army Air Forces, working in collaboration with the 10th Air Force. The units in the area were some of the smallest Army Air Force's combat teams of World War II, and covered a significant and critical geographical territory to defend the supply line from India to China, as well as to interdict the Japanese supply line returning from Rangoon in Burma to the north of the country. Baggett and the 7th Bomb Group men flew B-24 Liberators, 4-engined heavy bombers that the pilots would fly in formation. On March 31, 1943, the unit's 9th Bomb Squadron was dispatched to destroy a railroad bridge in Pyonmana, Burma, near 2 active enemy fighter bases. The 12-plane formation was led by Colonel Conrad F. Nekrasen, the bomb group's commander. On his right, a B-24 was piloted by 1st Lieutenant Lloyd Jensen and co-piloted by 2nd Lieutenant Owen J. Baggett. On that day, Baggett would earn a distinction unlike any other in the Air Force's history: shooting down an aircraft. As the group was flying towards their target, the Liberators were intercepted by 13 Japanese Ki-43 fighters. Nicknamed Hayabusa, or Peregrine Falcon, with Allied reporting name Oscar, the aircraft were light, agile, and fast. Although their abilities allowed them to outmaneuver enemy aircraft and be hard to reach, it was known that their lack of armor resulted in their fuselage easily breaking apart with only a few hits. Still, the Hayabusa became a feared fighter in East Asia, and towards the end of the war, the aircraft had shot down more Allied aircraft than any other Japanese fighter. Despite the B-24's flight abilities and multiple turrets bearing heavy machine guns as defense, the Liberators proved no match for the incoming Japanese fighters. As the 13 Hayabusas intercepted the American aircraft and launched a vicious attack against them, Colonel Nekrasen suffered severe injuries. Then, after several strikes to the fuel tank, smoke and fumes filled Pilot Jensen's B-24. The oxygen bottles around the aircraft's crew had shattered, and Sergeant Samuel Krostek tried to put out the fire with an extinguisher. As the Japanese continued to attack the Liberator relentlessly, Baggett volunteered to take Krostek's place and buy time for the other crew members to escape. An explosion was imminent, and Jensen ordered the crew to bail out. After hand-signaling the gunners to escape, Baggett finally jumped from the smoke-filled aircraft in his parachute. Then, as he began descending towards the ground, he saw 4 more canopies before the B-24 finally succumbed to the damage and exploded. As the Japanese fighters spotted the descending crew in the air, they began firing their guns at them. They successfully shot 2 Americans and managed to graze Baggett's arm. The 2nd lieutenant then decided to play dead to save his life. Hoping that the Japanese pilots would ignore him, Baggett stayed still and noticed one of the Hayabusas flying close to his position. The 2nd lieutenant then slowly pulled out his .45 caliber M1911 pistol and rested it against the side of his leg. When the fighter approached within mere feet of Owen's parachute to confirm his passing, nose up and on the verge of a stall, the pilot opened his canopy to take a better look. The enemy was now closer than ever, and Baggett decided to act. He then raised his pistol and shot 4 bullets at the Japanese pilot. In a matter of seconds, the aircraft went into a spin and disappeared on the horizon. Did he or didn't he? Once Baggett finally reached the ground, he landed near Lieutenant Jensen and one of the remaining crew members. With enemy aircraft still circling the air, the trio then tried to hide behind some bushes, but despite their best efforts, the Americans were captured by Burmese men and were subsequently turned over to the Japanese. Sergeant Samuel Crosstick, Lieutenant Jensen, and Second Lieutenant Owen Baggett were then imprisoned in Singapore for 2 years. During this time, Owen Baggett's weight dropped from 180 pounds to a scarce 90. Every day, he reminisced about his mid-air duel. Although he considered it highly unlikely to have shot down the enemy while in his parachute, he pondered on the slight possibility that he was correct. His doubts ended when he encountered Colonel Harry Melton, commander of the 311th Fighter Group, who had also been shot down by a Japanese aircraft that day. Melton, who was passing through the prison camp, mentioned to Owen that a Japanese colonel said that the pilot he had shot had been found on the ground with a bullet in his body. It was clear that the shot had ended his life, and not the subsequent plane crash. Although Melton intended to make an official report of the incident, the commander lost his life when his ship to Japan was sunk by the enemy. And despite his claims, there are no official Japanese wartime records of a lost plane or a downed pilot on March 31st, 1943. However, there were no other Allied forces in the area during the time of the incident, so no other units could have been responsible for shooting down the enemy aircraft. It is also said that perhaps there were no official records of the event because the soldier could have recovered from a stall and flown back to the airfield, as the events transpired over 4,000 feet in the air. Throughout the years, a photo taken by an unnamed source depicting the exact moment of the incident has been published in press articles and hundreds of online forums. Whether the photo was real or was put together with photo editing tricks remains unknown. Still, Baggett and other witnesses always maintained that he successfully defended himself from a close-range aircraft attack with a pistol. And if he did take down a Japanese fighter with an M1911, it would make him the only known man to ever shoot down an aircraft with a pistol. After World War II ended, Baggett was released from prison and stayed with the newly created United States Air Force, rising in rank and retiring as a colonel. The lore of Colonel Owen J. Baggett, the extraordinary co-pilot who pulled off an incredible feat while suspended in a parachute 4,000 feet in the air, still lives on to this day, all thanks to one mysterious photo. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, please give us a like, and also hit the notifications button to be the first to know of our newest content. Also, don't forget to subscribe to all our Dark Documentaries channels for more exciting historical stories.